Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am Sean Anderson, Most Valuable Podcast, and alongside me is Dave Oster.
Hey, guys.
He's finally back on the video side. He's always doing the fast break with us, but it's been a while since he's made his video return, and we're finally doing it. I'm honored to be doing it with him, and we'll get into one of my teams that I love criticizing, the Sacramento Kings. You know, the free agent hotspot here, the place that DeMarcus Cousins loves being, and a team that trades back from the 8th overall pick to get the 13th pick, the 28th pick, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and a 2020 second-round pick. And, you know, instead of picking Marquise Chris at 8, you know, a guy with a lot of length, a guy with a lot of potential at a power forward position, they go out in the 13th pick and get a center, which they don't need because they have Willie Cauley-Stein and DeMarcus Cousins. I don't know if you heard of those guys. And they take Georgios Papagiannis.
Sean, I can't tell. Do you have some feelings towards this pick?
This is the worst pick of the draft, without a doubt. I have told Ricky this, and Ricky's like trying to defend it. This is the worst pick in the draft. You could have drafted him at 28.
I wasn't trying to defend it, Sean.
The voice of God coming in.
Yeah,
I wasn't trying to defend it, Sean.
No, you were. You were defending it, but thanks for ruining this video now. But anyways, Georgios Papagiannis, I don't know if this is because Vlade Divac just is like, oh, he's for it, let's get him. He reminds me of myself. I hate this pick. This is the worst pick in the draft. What are your thoughts, Dave?
I mean, it's a total reach. I think you nailed it.
Stretch.
It just comes to the point where it's like, we could have gotten way later. But there is upside, and it's kind of interesting to see going after a lot of these Euro players ahead of a lot of the guys who we watch play college basketball against what we normally assume is, top level talent. So I'm kind of interested in this one. I don't really see it panning out fantastically. I think Boogie, with the instant tweet right after the pick, letting the team know he's not too thrilled with it.
Honestly, the only way I can see this working out is if you trade DeMarcus Cousins. Because when is this kid going to play?
But now he's expendable.
He is. At
this point, go figure. We're going to say, the guy who puts up all-star numbers year after year is now expendable because they got Georgios Papagiannis.
I think this is a ridiculous pick. I think the Kings organization is poorly run. I think they are completely have their heads up their asses. They don't know what they're doing. Vivek Ranadive and Vlade Divac. As much as I loved Vlade when he was a player, he does not know how to run an organization. And then I say that, and then I'm going to give him praise for the 22nd overall pick.
They didn't fuck that up?
They didn't fuck that up. You get rid of Marco Bellinelli's contract, who I think was making $6.8 million, who is coming off one of his worst seasons. He had 2 years left, and you go out and get a guy like Malachi Richardson, who I love, but now I'm kind of jaded on because I know he's not going to be able to succeed in Sacramento because it's a hellhole.
Yeah,
it's a hellhole.
He's walking into Ben McLemore's situation again. It's
or
like
Nick Stauskas.
You've got these guys who are fantastic shooters in college, and you just come in with concern because they're not going to get the help they need in Sacramento, and I feel like they're going to fall off the face of the earth. I hope he doesn't. Like you said, he had a lot of potential coming out. He played fantastic at Syracuse. But the biggest thing is, okay, with this trade with the trade for Papagiannis, I think one of the big pieces, they got the rights to Bogdan. I'm sorry for the pronunciation. But I think it's the whole, I can get him to come over here. We're going to give him the contract he needs. And boom, we're going to have some instant impact.
And Bogdan's Serbian, so there's probably
there's a connection.
There's a 99% chance that he knows Vlade and Peja. So, I mean... I like the Malachi Richardson pick, and it's gonna be. I mean, I would like to see him in boogie and pick and roll sets. I would like to see that length of Malachi Richardson there and him driving the basket. Now he has a decent passing ability and getting him off to boogie. So I think there's potential there. But then again, he's going to Sacramento. I don't know if he's gonna be able to use that potential. But the pick the trade itself for Bellinelli for the 22nd, phenomenal.
I can't believe that's a thing. I mean, you talk about Thad Young got traded for a 20.
Yeah.
And okay, Bellinelli for 22. What?
And Thad's on a decent contract. Marco Bellinelli's on a terrible contract with the way he played last year. So
that's outrageous.
And then the part of that trade, too, was the 28th overall pick coming from the Suns, and they picked Scala Bassier, and that's another pick that's...
fell right in their hands.
It's pretty decent, too. And the thing is, if you needed a power forward, why not draft Marquise Chris at number 8?
Oh.
It doesn't make any sense. Scala has a lot of question marks. I know Chris does, too, but Chris was more proven at Washington. Scala did not prove himself in Kentucky.
Scala hid in the shadows.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of question marks with Scala. There's people questioning if Chris can develop, but then again, if he develops, people know what you're going to be able to get with him. A guy who can stretch the floor, but a guy who's completely athletic and can dominate the rim. So, I look at Scale, he's got a good offensive game. If he can develop it, he might be able to protect the rim at some points, but then again, it's a good value at 28, but why not just draft Marquise Chris if you need a power forward? I just don't understand.
Because why would they need to get Marquise Chris if you
can
wait till 28?
They got Papagiannis.
You could wait till 28 and get Scale, who they were back to back. It was like, okay, Marquise Chris was definitely the tier up. It was always Bender and him, and then Scale was the next tier down. So I think they get a great steal with Skal here, and I really think that this is all just setting up a reload for this Kings team. I think Boogie is gone. I mean, absolutely not coming back.
I say he might be gone by the trade deadline. I mean, Boston's got picks.
Yeah,
Boston's got Jaylen Brown. Oh. Maybe you put a guy with.
You got Jaylen, you got Skal, you got Papagiannis, you got Malachi.
Give them all the question marks.
That's a young group.
Give them all the question marks, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the Kings are doing, to be honest with you. It's a steal with Skal. Not gonna lie, but
honestly,
again,
they nailed their late picks. You even get their last one.
Isaiah Cousins is fantastic too, a guard from Oklahoma, a guy who worked with Buddy Hield, a guy who still has potential even without Buddy Hield. I think he was a great pick there. I had him as a B, and then I'm scratching him out right now and put him as an A because he would have gone undrafted and people would have signed him right away. I mean, Isaiah Cousins was a great pick at 29. Yeah. I think even
59.
59. I think the Kings came out and even said we were surprised this guy was here this late. So I think Isaiah Cousins was a great pick there. But overall, I'm giving him a D because it was a terrible trade. The Kings made a terrible trade. They should have just picked Marquise Chris, a power forward who has a ton of potential, a guy who has not that many question marks about him. And yes, while Skal was a great steal that late, and while Malachi Richardson was a great trade, and while Isaiah Cousins was a great pick at 59, I don't know why you picked Papagiannis at 13. You could have picked him at 28. You could have picked him at 22nd. I don't know why you picked him
at 59.
There. I don't know about that. That's a stretch there.
Maybe.
But there's a lot of question marks with the Kings. If you take out Papagiannis, they might get an A. That's how bad that Papagiannis pick is.
I'm gonna for once disagree with you. Rare occasion here, but I think this is setting up for the transition from Cousins off this team, and I think it gives them a ton of young talent who have really high upside. And look, they're gonna get to roll the dice and just go totally young guys out there.
You make good.
They're gonna be awful though.
You make they're gonna be terrible. You make great points, and the Bulls aren't gonna get their pick, the first round draft.
No, they're not.
I think it's pretty safe to say. So sorry, Bulls fans, because I don't think this Kings team's gonna be outside of the top 10 worst teams. But I see your points. But then again, this is still the worst.
You
pick,
can have
no
as much
what.
anger over Papagiannis as you want, but that man's father, he cares about him.
Yeah,
and his tweets show it.
Go look up Dragon Bender versus Papagiannis dad's tweets. They're pretty great. But Papagiannis, you're a terrible pick, and I'm sorry that I'm probably offending your father right now. Thank you so much for watching these draft grades. If you do not want to miss any of the other teams, check out the playlist down below or just subscribe to our channel because we'll be putting them out every single chance we get. Ricky's just going to be a machine uploading them every single quick. He's got quick hands. He's editing them down. He's uploading them. So if you don't want to miss them, check out the link in the description or check out our page, Most Valuable Podcast. If you don't want to miss any of our post-draft coverage, free agency coverage, subscribe to our channel. And if you like these draft grades, if you like the grade I gave to your team, like this video. And if you didn't like this grade, tell us in the comments why it should be higher, why it should be lower. What did your team do right? What did your team do wrong? But that's going to wrap up this video. If you do want to follow us on different places, you can find us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod. You can find me on Twitter at Schwarbo. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Snapchat. You even find us at patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. If you donate at least $1, you do get a monthly exclusive podcast, and it's people from the MVP Network. The one for July is me, Mike, and Brandon, and it's a pretty fun one. Mike had some pretty good stories, so if you do not want to miss out on that, go to patreon.com/Most Valuable Podcast. It's going to wrap up this draft grade video, and I will see you next time.